The unanimous Confederate white South is a cherished myth. If someone had tried to put up a Confederate monument here shortly after the Civil War, there would have been another Civil War. Instead, white North Carolinians erected nearly all of our Confederate monuments around 1910, 50 years after the Civil War, after the white supremacy campaign had seized power by force and taken the vote away from black North Carolinians.
The governor did express concern over the Confederate Monument Bill. He expressed concern that the Monument Bill was a state overreach into local government decisions. But then he signed the Monument Bill anyway.
This is not a game. This is serious. This fuels hatred. And it's sad, and it's a time that we all as a community stand up together.
The death penalty is a relic of the Old South, our Old South. The death penalty is racist, error-prone, expensive, and brutalizing. It is cruel and unusual. Our death penalty is a sin, Reverend Gatewood.
My heritage includes those who rebelled against slave traders, who rebelled against slave masters, who rebelled against the slave breakers, and they fought on the right side of history, and they won.
I don't mean to be repetitive, but this is so important. My white brothers and sisters, most of them poor, have been fed a lie. But that isn't the real tragedy here. The tragedy is that these are the very people who wave the flag and stand for these monuments. These very people are hurting and sometimes even dying because of the policies of our state legislature. It is these poor white Southerners who are so often without health care, who are underpaid and need a raise in the minimum wage, who have children struggling in our under-resourced public school system, who live alongside black folks in rural communities who can't drink their water because of lack of environmental protections. I think it's also poor white people who benefited from the Racial Justice Act and from getting rid of the death penalty. It is these poor white folks who need emergency unemployment and the earned income tax credit, but instead, they get a monument. And they have been fooled into believing that is enough.
So we are here today at our state capitol because we understand our history very clear. And as a nation once divided, and now we stand as a nation under one flag, Mr. Governor.
Why are you protecting monuments when you haven't protected 500,000 people that need Medicaid expansion? When you have not ensured raises for teachers and teachers' assistants and funding for public education? When you've not protected 900,000 people who need earned income tax credit that you took? Why are you protecting monuments, particularly Confederate monuments and flags on license plates, when you have not raised wages to a living wages and supported the working poor? And you've not repealed the repeal of the Racial Justice Act, when we live in a state that has more black men found innocent who would have been killed on death row than any other southern state? Why? Why are you more interested in protecting the symbols of an infamous racist past than addressing the real issues of our present? We ought to be promoting justice rather than protecting monuments and flags. We ought to be promoting love rather than protecting monuments and flags. We ought to be promoting truth rather than monuments and flags. We ought to be promoting community. We ought to be promoting uplift. We ought to be promoting America. We ought to be promoting one North Carolina. We ought to be promoting children. We ought to be promoting schools. We ought to be promoting work. This is what we should promote. This is what for the people we should protect. Nothing less. Nothing less. Governor, nothing less. Senator Berger, nothing less. Representative Moore, nothing less. We will be a state where the weak grow strong and the strong go great. We demand that you protect and promote nothing less. God help us. We're going to ask that you get in the line of 2 by 2 with your flags waving. Media, we've already delivered a letter to the governor today saying we will stand with him if he'll do the right thing. We have 2 letters. One we're going to deliver to Speaker Moore's office. We're going to deliver one there. We're going to walk through. Now, they said we're going to get arrested. We're not planning on getting arrested. We're planning on, well, I want to see what they let us walk through with these American flags. Because right now, there's a deeper conviction on this governor and this legislature than any of us can do. And I just pray that they do the right thing, Vicki, because they don't know what the fire they're playing with. And maybe they do. Maybe they do. And if they do, God help them and God help us for the leadership in our state.
Look at the people. Look at the people. Look at the people. Look at all the people you've denied. Oh, look at the people. Oh, look at the people. Look at the people. Look at all the people.
All of the people we need to be protecting under this flag. We've had hard enough time getting this flag to represent everybody. And to keep stepping back and to think that right now they don't have a budget, but they're trying to figure out how to start the death penalty in a state where you've had exoneration of black men more than any other state. 500,000 people, no health care. They want to fuss over a monument flag. Teachers don't know if they're going to have money. Teachers' assistants. We don't even have a state budget. It's so backwards, it's so cynical, and it's so wrong. And then to do this on top of not just the deaths of Charleston, but all of the violence and all of the deaths and all of the hatred and white supremacy that was done underneath the Confederate battle flag. It's just sad for our state. And that's why people are saying we're not going to stand for it. You're not going to do it in the dark. All they have is some temporary political power. And I believe they keep on, they're not going to have that. Because people are waking up all over. Actually, what they have done proves their agenda and proves their priority, which is not the people, but spreading racial fears, using racialized politics, and only catering to the least, not to the least, but to the few, rather than caring about the many and the least of them.
Look at the 500,000 you denied of health care. Oh,